All right, I want this to be a really practical video for y'all so y'all can learn a lot and possibly make some money in your lives flipping some boats. With that said, instead of sitting in some random location watching me talk to the camera, I am actually just going to start showing you video of me jet skiing, because that's better than looking at my face. And I'm going to continue to talk and explain everything that I learned this year. I want to start off by saying that take everything with a grain of salt, because I've only been doing this for 1 year. So I'm no professional. If you are a professional and want to throw your 2 cents in how to do things, I would love to hear whether I'm doing things right or wrong, and I just want to help everybody work on their projects a little better. All right, so within my 1 year of boat flipping, I have purchased 8 total boats and sold 6 so far. So I still have 2 in progress. I'm very hopeful for these 2. They're going to make 2 great flips. Videos are in progress on these. Just be looking out for more from the Wellcraft and the Aquasport. On the 6 boats I did sell, I made a profit on every single one except for the Copart boat. I took a very small loss on that. So far, I feel like I've done very well as a beginner. If you're dealing with, a big cuddy cabin like that Copart boat, not only can the floor that you can see be rotten, but underneath that can be rotten. The stringers can be rotten. Larger boats are going to have more components. They're going to have more controls. They're going to have more bells and whistles. All these things can go wrong. So when purchasing a larger boat, don't just look at it as, hey, you're going to get a lot more for this boat. You would have to think, hey, I'm going to have to put a lot more accessories and different things into this boat in order to make it water ready, in order to make it for somebody to want to, turn the key and hop in and drive. And that's really what my goal is to try and make a boat water ready before I try and sell it. I'm not trying to sell it halfway done. You're going to get the best bang for your buck if you can tell this person, hey, this thing starts right up, it runs just fine. There are a few things that are going to be regional specific, and since I am in Louisiana, that's all I can tell you about. So I can tell you disadvantages and advantages to being in Louisiana. One major advantage to being in Louisiana is the boat market is hot. It's good for selling and it's good for buying, and I know that sounds weird, but what I mean is that you could purchase a junk boat for a couple $100 basically anywhere in the country. If you fix that boat and make it clean and resell it, the resale value in Louisiana for some reason is very high. How do I know this? Because the people in other regions in the country are contacting me and they're telling me, bro, you're getting crazy high numbers for these boats that you're selling. And I can't disagree, to be honest. I was very surprised. So I'm going to tell you one major disadvantage. In Louisiana, the Department of Motor Vehicles, they want titles on your trailers in order to get a license plate and register your trailer, and everything needs to be notarized. The Wildlife and Fisheries, if you have a title on your boat, it needs to be notarized. If you have registration, it needs to be notarized. Like, everything needs to be notarized in Louisiana. So that is one major disadvantage to living in Louisiana. A lot of these very cheap boats, which make good boat flips, don't have titles, or the trailers don't have titles. It's been quite a pain tracking down titles or trying to get things signed with a notary. I had to use mobile notaries twice. It's expensive. I used a Saturday notary. That was expensive. And if a boat had a title and the person before you lost it and you don't have the title, then you have to do extra paperwork even though you got the bill of sale that's notarized. In all, was it worth it for me to flip boats in my spare time? Absolutely worth it. I learned a lot about engines and a lot about troubleshooting what's wrong. I've already assessed and fixed like 5 different problems on different engines, and I'm just happy to have that knowledge that in the future, if my boat ever breaks down, I might have already dealt with one of these issues, and I wouldn't have had one of these issues if I wasn't flipping boats. So that's a huge advantage, because I do love taking my own boat out. I want my family to be safe. So I've learned some techniques to make things work out better, and I've learned about other products to use. So on my own personal product, I can use nothing but the best. So it's great to have some first-hand knowledge on the things that I'm learning. The number one reason I think most of you are here And the reason that I started this is because I wanted to make money. And the bottom line is I have made money. Has it been dollars per hours great? Probably not. But for someone who doesn't have experience doing this, what could I expect, you know? And if I don't have experience fixing boat engines, how am I to get some other than just do it, I guess? So in the works for me, maybe a mechanical school about engines. That would be great. I learned a lot of this I can actually do. Something that was completely daunting was the transom on that Bayhawk, but I knew that I had to do it. I had to sell that boat and get top dollar for it, and nobody was going to pay top dollar for a boat with a busted transom. So I just did it. It was like a 3-week long process, so it was tons of work. But it really wasn't that bad. It was only, 20 minutes a day or something. You'd have to wait for it to dry and cure and come out and sand it and do another coat. But through that, I have built a self-confidence that now I know a little bit more about transoms than I did before. And I will be able to assess future boat transoms better now that I have done that project also. So what's an ideal boat flip? I would say that my pontoon boat was an ideal boat flip. One, because the guy was willing to give it away for so little, and two, because I had to do so little to actually fix the boat to get it ready to sell. All I did on this flip was some patchwork on some leather or pleather seats, and I repaired the trailer. I just grinded and sanded and painted a rusty trailer. The bearings were fine. I replaced 2 tires, and that was it. And I made a nice profit on that. Another ideal flip would be if there's just one issue with this boat. Let's say it's just the motor issue, right? Or just a carburetor needs to be cleaned. Ideal boat flips can have variations. It could be that the size of the boat is small, so that makes it easy to deal with. It makes it quick. You could double your money easily, because if you're only, let's say, purchasing a boat for $300 and you sell it for $600, you've doubled your money. You can continue to do that over and over and over to make 100% profit basically. An ideal boat flip might be that there's only one issue with this boat, like the trailer's great, the boat's great, but the timing of the engine's off, or the carburetor just needs to be cleaned, or they had bad gas in it. Sorry for that rant. Anyway, what to look out for? Basically, my Copart boat would be what to look out for. I bit off more than I can chew with just that one boat, because there are so many things that can go wrong on that boat. And really with that one, I wasn't realistic on what it would take to get a motor like that running again. Although it might only cost a couple $100 in parts, the labor hours to pay somebody to restore that engine to perfect condition would be thousands of dollars in labor hours, and that would just be so ignorant to do for that boat, because really it's only going to be worth about $4 or $5 grand when I was done with it. A disaster of a flip would be a boat that has been so weathered that nothing is right about it, where maybe the rails, the deck, the flooring, the seats, everything is like starting to get spongy. That would be a boat to stay away from. A disaster of a boat would be something with multiple issues. So the engine doesn't work, and it needs controls, and it needs a center console, and it needs a live well. If it's going to need 5 major things, it's not a good flip. And that's going to bring me to a very, very important question, and that is, if somebody gives you a free haul, is it worth building a boat yourself? And that's going to be next week's video, because believe it or not, I have experience doing this. The 17-foot Wellcraft fishing boat was a top to bottom stripped boat. Now it's got an engine, a center console, a T-top, a steering wheel, controls. So everything now I've said is just going to bring me down to a couple final tips that I can leave y'all with. The first one is start small. You can always gradually build as you make profit on every boat that you do, But you never just want to jump in with your whole nest egg and say, hey, let me just spend 5 grand on this boat because I'm going to double it and I'll have 10 grand. Because if something goes horribly wrong with that boat flip, and if it is your first one, it's a very good possibility it could, then you will have lost your whole nest egg, right? But if you start small and maybe like with a $500 boat, then, you know, you turn that into $1,000 and you can continually work your way up. So that if one of them doesn't work out along the way, you don't really lose much. All right, this next tip, this is going to be something that make the difference in selling a boat for 2 grand versus selling it for 1,500. It's totally worth it. And that is, when you go to list this boat, clean it from top to bottom and then take good pictures. Okay, you have to have good pictures of your boat. I'm talking good lighting, not overexposed, not during a thunderstorm, not at nighttime, and there cannot be anything in the boat. Nothing. You want it to look like the biggest boat possible in your pictures. You want to take it with very minimal in the background and foreground, so that way the boat stands out. Maybe it's in front of a blank fence or on a levee or something, but you don't want hardly anything else to be in the picture. And you're going to want to take plenty of pictures. So all the inside stuff, you want to see the console, take the inside of the motor. The more pictures you take, the fewer dumb questions you're going to get. Not that you're going to eliminate all of them when you post this sort of stuff on Marketplace, but it's going to help, and it's going to get people more intrigued. They're going to start to fall in love with the boat a little more. They're going to be able to see themselves grabbing the steering wheel and driving the boat. So definitely take a picture of the steering wheel. And if you have a video of the motor running, that'd be huge to put, or at least take a picture of the video. So when you're about to pull a trigger on purchasing a boat, you want to make sure that you not only add up the cost of the material things it's going to take to get this boat back on the water, but it's also going to account for all the time that it's going to take you. With that said, guys, I just hope y'all find some incredible deals this summer, and either y'all benefit by making your boat better or flipping a boat and making lots of cash. And I would love to see y'all's boat flips. So if you're working on a project right now, let me see it. And if you just sold one, I got to know how much profit you made, bro. Let me see what's going on. Y'all send it my way. Till next time, everybody, y'all stay safe out there, so you can return home still alive.